Welcome back. Now, cases of schools unrest have been on the rise in recent days, barely a month after students reported back to school for their second term. The situation has raised questions as to whether parents have failed in their parenting, even as the debate on whether caning should be reintroduced continues to gain momentum. Our Education Affairs reporter Andrin Kilemi takes a look at the cases of unrests in schools.
Indisciplined learners, school fires and violent students are some of the highlights of the second term of schools. Barely a month after schools reopened for the in-person learning after a 9-month break occasioned by COVID-19. So far, more than 10 schools have reported cases of arson, attempted murder or violence. Earlier today, a Form 3 student at Ruambiti High School in Kirinyaga County was arrested after beating up a teacher, while 9 others from Gotv High School were remanded for 14 days, pending hearing of arson charges against them. Following the widespread cases of arson in schools, Education CS Professor George Magoha is proposing for the reintroduction of corporal punishment in schools, an idea that has stirred up debate among Kenyan parents.
If you love your children, you should be keen to discipline them. If you hate them, then spare the rod. And in this case, I think the Bible is talking about the corporal punishment. Yes, as a parent, I would recommend that we do it at home and we do it in school as well.
Understanding ya mtoto na mwalimu. Kuna watoto wengine ni nature, ni stubborn tu. Kuna mwalimu atamuelewa. Utapata kuna mtoto ni mtundu sana shule lakini mwalimu anamuelewa kabisa. But this same child kuna mwalimu hawezi muelewa. So there's another way of discipline mtoto, but I agree you're caning in school.
NAT Secretary General Wilson Sosion, however, says corporal punishments in schools would cause more trouble than what the country is experiencing now.
This is a wrong time to debate the return of the cane, because we have gone very far. We've put it in the Constitution, the rights of the child, under the Bill of Rights. And I want every Kenyan to remember, when we were voting the Kenya Constitution 2010, we voted for the Bill of Rights. And under the Bill of Rights, there is the right of the child.
Sosion has further faulted parents for failing to create time for their children, even as he urged the government to do away with boarding schools, which he says deprives families of quality time.
This boils down to parenting and the nature of the family cultures that we have. Many parents don't have time for their children. And therefore, when the children were at home, of course, there were huge complaints that school should reopen immediately, so that these kids, they were very impatient, and the children were a burden to them. Our school system has been structured in a manner that children spend less time with their parents, and this is very dangerous.
Psychologists and counselors observe that beating a child for a mistake causes more damage to the child and may have dire consequences in their future.
Students or these pupils, we realize they start banning schools and going to what we call student unrest when they are in secondary school. So I think it will be a bit too late to start rectifying the mistake at that stage. And corporal punishment in itself feels like punishment. Feels like this child is going to feel they are being unfairly charged or punished for something maybe very minor.
To beat or not to beat a child is a debate that has continued to gain momentum, and with the increasing number of schools unrest, only time will tell whether the cane will come back to schools or not. Andrin Kilemi, TV 47, Nairobi.